This is James from Life is Sport Games, and I'm here to demonstrate base advancement in the advanced game of true to life baseball. Actually, this demo will be for the basic game, but the only difference between the basic and advanced base running is in the advanced game additional player modifiers are used. For the base runner, a BR value is used, and for the outfielder that the hit goes to, the AR value is used, and that modifies the base CTA. I would recommend when just starting out to use the basic base runner advancement. This is used anytime there's a hit, and what it does is you're determining if a base runner can advance the standard advancement or an additional base. The best way is to give an example. Say Rivera is on first base when Miles gets a single. Now, the standard base advancement is the same number of bases as the hit type. The hit type is a single, that would be one base, so Rivera automatically gets second. The only thing this roll does is determine if he gets an additional base. And if he does, he would go to third instead of second. So all you do is you're going to already know which field the hit went to. It can either be right field, center field, or left field. We're going to say it's to right field, and you read across from this row, right field, and down to where the base runner is located, in this case first base, and you find this value, which is the chance to advance, CTA. It's 50. So there's a 3-die roll, which really you only really use the red and white portion for the base runner, and the blue die, I'm going to make that a 0. So this is red 2, 5. The blue die is red individually, and the blue die only applies to the batter. So for the advancement of the base runner, all you have is 2, 5. And all it is if this roll is less than or equal to the CTA, so 0 to 50, and he basically passes the roll and gets the additional base. So instead of stopping at second, which would be a standard advancement, Rivera advances to third. And that's all there is to it. Now the blue die is an additional concept. It's really simple. If now second base is open and the batter is on first base with he reached on a single, and there's an opportunity for him to go to second, as sometimes happens in the real game when the cutoff throw, the outfielder misses a cutoff throw, and this is represented by the blue die. Anytime the blue die is at least 4 less than the red die, then the batter advances on the throw. Essentially, the cutoff man was missed and the batter takes the base. Now that's not going to happen very often, because the red die would have to be at least 4 or higher for the blue die to be 0, and oftentimes the batter doesn't have the base ahead of him free or open. If Rivera had only advanced to second, there would be no way for the batter to advance, even if the blue die had been 4 or lower. But don't get all caught up in that, because actually you can just, if you want, just roll 2 die and totally ignore the blue die until you're more familiar. And it seems like there's 2 aspects to it, and in fact there is, but the batter advancement it's not really necessary, and it's not going to happen that often. Okay, so let's just do a different example. It's the same example, same situation rather. Rivera's on first, Miles gets a base hit, but we're going to make the die roll different. We're going to make it 83. I'm not on a level surface, that's why I'm using this tray. It's the red and the white die is red together, 83. The red die is always first. Now this is higher then remember the CTA I showed you is still the same. It's the hits to right field, it's 50. And so because 83 is higher than 50, the base runner advancement rule fails from the perspective of the runner, and he can advance additional base, so he stops at second, which is his standard allotment. And now the blue die is 4 lower than the red die, but second base is occupied, so the batter could not advance. Anyways, and then we'll step it up to where we have runners. Kemp will be on second, Rivera will be on first, and Miles gets a base hit. Now this will be to left field. The only difference, see, is the value here is 20 and 60. 20 is for the runner on first, 60 is for the runner on second. Move it up here for the camera. So Kemp is on 60, so the 60 applies to Kemp, 20 applies to Rivera. And we're going to have a die roll that splits it. It's going to be 53. It's backwards, but the red is always red first, so it's 53. And 4, which don't worry about that. Well, 53 is lower than 60, so Kemp gets the additional base, and he scores from second. But 53 is higher than the trailing runner, which was Rivera. 53 is higher than 20, so he fails the base runner advancement roll, and he can't take an additional base, so he just goes from first to second. Until you have Rivera on second, Miles at first, and Kemp scored. And that's all there is to it. And it really speeds up the game once you understand how to perform the role. And it's also incredibly accurate because all these values come from the 2011 basically the base runner's chance to advance, how often they advance. The league average for all opportunities, whether they were on first or second, was 41%. And of course, there's not 41 here, but if you notice, it's because you have a greater chance to advance in right field than you do left field, simply because third base, for example, is very hard to advance to when the ball is hit to left field, because the left fielder is so close to third base where it's a longer throw for the right fielder. And so that's all there is to it, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and enjoy the game.